Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Good afternoon, my friends. We are live today at drroto.com to talk a little short slate DFS NFL football. We've got 4 games coming up, and I want to talk about them. And with me, I've got Trevor from drroto.com, of course, and our friend Tom, owner and operator of DFS Hero, our favorite optimizer, contest sim, you name it, he's got it. We're going to break this down. We're going to look at his sims. We're going to look at, how Trevor and I use them to build out some winning lineups. It's going to be a good time. Drop your comments in whenever you're ready. Tom, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
Good.
How about you guys?
Well, I'm at a work conference, a brewery conference, taking a little break here to come hang out with you guys. So beers have been flowing. Friends have been high-fiving. It's been a good time. Trevor, how's that weather up there in the frozen north, sir?
It's pretty cold up here. We're getting a cold snap, so that's going to be going through the Midwest here this whole weekend. So we'll see how that plays effect.
Jerry Blake says no Netflix.
That's right.
Well, I'm supposed to be. The doctor should not be watching this show because I'm supposed to be wearing it. But I'm feeling better. But I'll have it on pretty soon. I just took it off. I'm healing up pretty good. I'm excited to get back to work probably in 2 weeks. So.
Well, that's good. Jerry also is in our Dangerous Family DFS challenge with the 3 of us guys. So we got to be careful on what kind of advice we give him. We don't want him to beat us. Just stick to like some gut feelings and maybe not give him our whole playbook today. What do you think?
Sounds like a good idea.
I like it. Trevor, you're in 5th place, Tom. I think you're just below him and just above me. I'm in 15th out of 32. So maybe I can steal some good plays today. That would be great. We got 4 games, my friends. We're going to start with Saturday. What's the first game there? Let's see. 4:30 Bills Broncos. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's correct.
All right. 4:30 Bills and Broncos. The Bills notoriously cannot stop the run. Tom, the first thing I built in the lineup when I send out these contest links and it prompts me to build a lineup and I do it on like Tuesday. So I just put the top thing out of, just off my brain. I just throw in there. And I built it with RJ Harvey and McLaughlin. Is that viable or is that just?
No, I think that's a viable strategy for sure. Like Harvey is really, really popping in the Sims. So adding in McLaughlin I think is a great angle for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how much I loved the running games until pre-show. Trevor and I were talking a little bit, Trevor, and we made note that 18 degrees, blowing, snowing in Chicago. So a lot of times we say don't worry about the weather, but maybe this time is a worry about the weather when we play the ground game in Chicago.
Yep.
What do you think, Trevor?
Well, yeah, if you look at it, Chicago doesn't stop the run very good. I know they stopped Jacobs, but Green Bay has a lot of mess up front with their line. This might be a game where either team tries to pound the football. I mean, if I was the Bears, I want to keep that Rams offense off the field. I want to give it to Swift and Monangai. And the other way, we'll see what the Rams would love to run the football if they can. They got 2 guys that can do it. So, with depending on the wind, and I think at game time they're expecting 7 to 15 degree temps, and that's pretty cold for Chicago. I mean, that's normal for me, but for them, that's really cold. Yeah. So, it's 25 degrees. That's shorts weather here.
Right. Well, we can look up at the Sims, and we were talking a little bit before that time, and we saw, Puka Nacua, he's garnering in GPPs probably, what do you think, somewhere around 40%. Him and JSN, CMC are all going to be up there. We teased it a little bit in the pre-show. I might run 150 in that 50-cent mini max, and maybe I deselect Puka Nacua out of the entire 150 lineups. Is that crazy? Is that crazy talk?
No, I think that's the trust and Trevor strategy from what I'm understanding is, choose. I think like one thing that people don't operate correctly or they do something that's kind of hurting their EV more than helping it is fiddling with things too much, right? you're way better off taking one specific stand, whether that's locking in a player or excluding a player entirely, versus adjusting projections for 44 different people and setting like, exposures and all that stuff. I think construction wise, the way you flip your construction strategy just by making one very bold stance is what differentiates you enough where you're getting that separation from the field and what everyone's doing. So I think, as risky as it sounds, it's almost the best approach if you're trying to take down a tournament versus playing it safe.
Sure. Trevor, let's say you run 150 lineups, which I know you're going to do like 750, but let's say you do 150. Are you going over or under the 40% Puka?
On Nakua, I'm going under this week. I just think like, I know JSN didn't have the greatest game against San Francisco the last time. I think I'm going to be more on him. He's a little bit cheaper. And I think I'd rather be more on JSN than Puka. And if it burns me, it burns me. Like Tom said, you got to take your own personal stands, and that's the stand I'm going to take.
No, I can agree with that. Look, the 49ers defense has been I saw a pretty funny video talking about how the football gods have cursed them with injuries and how they're getting through with it. And it was said that they are recycling the souls of the injured players all directly into CMC to get him to the next plane of existence. And perhaps that's true. Maybe that bites them in the butt. What do you think, Tom, just on a personal level? Do you think Puka Nacua has a worse chance of busting or a better chance of busting than JSN with a Darnold who is just due for an absolute tournament?
If you just take it from like a game theory aspect, right? You want to I'm getting I'm going to be around 25% Puka versus the I think that's half what the field is projecting out to have him at, and I'm getting significantly more JSN versus Puka. And again, I think that's just a leverage, versus opportunity point right there that the sim is trying to point out for us, even in terms of just simulated ROIs for those two specific players. They are very close in how they sim out as individual plays, but the leverage you gain off of Nacua is greater, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Trevor, Jerry asks, are we worried about the Rams right guard situation?
Yeah, a little bit. I not so much. Well, maybe they'll run it to the left side a little bit more. But I just want to touch up another thing about the Puka versus JSN really quick. We all go by a bias of what we've recently seen. So we've seen in the last few games the Rams going up and down the field. We watched the Bears go up and down the field, but the Bears are going up and down the field late in these games. I mean, they're playing against Green Bay, whose defense was really hurt. So the last time we just seen San Francisco and Seattle play each other recently, and it was a very low scoring game. Now they got that total pumped to 45 for a reason. I mean, everybody is going to be assuming that this is going to be one of those low scoring games, and I just don't think it's going to happen. That's why I like JSN a little bit more, because it goes over the recency bias of what we've seen.
All right,
that makes sense.
We got Josh Allen, right? We got Matt Stafford. We got Purdy, who's been putting up 30-point games, except for that aforementioned game against Seattle in the final week. We got Rams and Bears that both teams have been running up the scores. How underlooked, Tom, do you think the Houston Patriots game is going to be for DFS lineups?
Significantly underlooked, for sure. In terms of how sims are going, whether you look at, small field, large field, lottery, you're really not getting a lot. So I think it will be severely underlooked in general. If you're not seeing like optimizers really push it, if you're not seeing simulators really sim out the games, for a fact that field is not going to move in that direction. So you can expect whatever projected ownership is on them to either be there or even be a little bit lower. When like players are popping in sims and optimizers, I tend to think, the ownership numbers that are there for us are going to be inflated when it comes time for the contest. So I think, there is opportunity. I think it's risky, but I think there is opportunity for flyers or adding in some plays there for upside.
So we're seeing Christian Kirk at sub 5,000. Nico Collins most likely will miss this game with a concussion. Where do you think his ownership will actually turn out? And do you think that we should be under or over the field? Because you called it, your Sims called it all week. I think I texted you last
You
month.
did.
What the hell's wrong with your Sims?
I also said it on the show. I was like, I called you out and I said, because it was one of my sleeper plays, because we were literally just getting so much. Yep. And I said on the show, I said to Doc, I was like, Danger says he used the word gross twice in one sentence. But it panned out. So I think, right now.
So it's not a sleeper this week.
Yeah, not a sleeper this week. And that's just because it's, the recency bias. I think, you're looking at around 8 to 10% ownership. I'm right at the field in terms of exposure. So no positive or negative leverage really there. I will probably stay there. I will not mess with it.
Trevor, how about you on Mr. Kirk?
I have really no interest in Christian Kirk this week. I did last week because Optimizer got me on him. I was kind of mad I didn't throw him in any captain spots on Monday night, and I played like 150, 300 lineups of it. I did have marks, which they had, so I did pretty well, but I could have been really good. But I'm not going to play Christian Kirk that much, even with Collins being out, because he hasn't done it much, and I do not like the Texans in this spot with their offense. See, this is a game that has a total of 41, and for this game to get over, I think both defenses might put each team in scoring positions with turnovers or something like that. So, but Kirk just hasn't done it much this year. And I don't like – you've seen C.J. Stroud on Monday night. I mean, if it wasn't for the defense and running game, I mean, to rely on his arm, I just think the Texans bring it – or the Patriots are a different beast at defense than Pittsburgh is. So I'm not going to be playing them, especially when you've got other players that are marquee on the match.
Yeah, I saw another funny, fake video made with Aaron Rodgers asking if anybody else felt like Houston had 27 players on defense. They're good. They're real good. New England's defense isn't a slouch. I don't know what I want in this game outside of a defense of either one of them. I don't know if I can play a defense of either one of them. They just depending on how the price works out. They both kind of price themselves out of my initial runs. I don't know that I want Christian Kirk, although it is cheap and he, in the mind of the public right now could be their number one receiver. I think I kind of go back to Higgins in this game if I'm going to play somebody on that offense. But Drake May, I don't know. I mean, Drake May's been I like to call it naked quarterback, Tom. Drake May's been good at that this year, being able to play him with no correlation. But I don't know you can do that against Houston.
No, I'm not. I think like in general, this is even the Sims are like screaming like don't really go here in general. I think the highest exposed guy I'm getting is Diggs, and even that's at a low exposure. You also see just based on we're talking about a 4-game slate. So if you're looking at guys that are sub 15%, sub 10%, they're going to be flyers for sure. So like some Diggs, I guess, some marks I have as well. But generally, I think once Collins is officially confirmed out, we'll see some things shift. We might even see a little bump for Kirk and the secondaries. So I guess it's a wait and see kind of situation. But I don't love this spot in general.
No, not really.
I am going to be higher on Drake May than the field. The field's got him at 15%. I'm probably going to have him 33%, somewhere in there. I just think that the Patriots are going to create some short fields. I expect May to run for 50 yards and a touchdown. I think he's going to get a rushing touchdown in this game. So that's 11 points right there. We're looking at a short slate. What other quarterbacks do you like outside of Stafford? I don't like any of them. To be honest, I don't like Allen. I don't like Darnold a little bit, but I don't think that there's a big competitive edge against him with these other games. I think there's going to be a lowest scoring game in Denver. I think Chicago might be sneakily lowest scoring. So May will be my pivot to the contrarian.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, guys, I mean, I know I'm a 49ers fan, but I'm going to be playing that game. I don't think it's going to be as low scoring. It's the third time they've seen each other this year. Yes, there were some things on the line at the last week, the number one seed and a week off, but also neither team really wanted to get injured going into the playoffs. This is all or nothing. I don't think that Darnold is showing. I mean, the last 11 weeks of the season, he was just below league average in almost every stat. Their defense has been good, but the 49ers are getting Pearsall back. Looks like they might get Fred Warner back. You lose Kittle. He's a hell of a blocker, but Ton just catches the ball. So, I mean, I'm not super scared of this 49ers Seattle game. And it allows you to kind of play off of the weather game, the Rams and Bears. Anything else you want to note before I share the DFS Hero Optimizer and we play around with it?
Not from my end.
All right.
I agree with you about the San Francisco Seattle game. I think we're going to look for some points in that one. But unfortunately, I think it's coming mostly from Seattle.
Well, maybe it will be. But I may remind you that the Niners were 7-point underdogs last week as well. Just throwing it out there. All right, well, we'll take this and we'll take it. This is unfettered. This is just, I opened it up. I hit the refresh button, and this is what it came up with. I usually start it. Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. It usually defaults to optimal ranking, right?
Correct.
So your optimal is how many contests when you run the contest simulator are these players in the winning lineup? Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Perfect. So you're seeing that it tells you want Puka and JSN. Whether or not you can get there depends on some roster construction and your thoughts on how some of these games go. And then, let's start from the beginning here, right? It shows you their position, shows you their team, shows you who they're playing against, their salary on DraftKings. You can toggle that up here. You can change it to FanDuel if you're a FanDuel player. Gives you their value, which I tend to be projected points combined with percentage owned kind of rankings.
Yeah, it's a salary based value. So, projected points divided by salary times 1,000 essentially is what it is.
There you go.
Yep.
You got the Vegas score. That is how much Vegas thinks that particular team is going to score. So this game, this game is currently a 48.5, and it says that the Rams are going to get 26 of that. Yep. So that's that. Floor ranking is, what you think that their general value will be on the middle to lower range. Ceiling is the higher range. Hero rank, you're going to have to give us insight on how you hero rank.
Yeah, so hero rank is just a concoction of metrics that we run in like a machine learning model that essentially allows us to find the opportunities for GPP, GPP spots. Essentially, you see things that you might not see normally if you're just looking at it from like a value optimal kind of aspect. So it just gives you kind of understanding where there might be upside opportunity based on the sims, based on the metrics in general.
Mm-hmm. And then you have boom or bust. I've seen that on a few different optimizers. The way it was explained to me is, boom is your percentage chance to significantly go above ceiling. Bust is your percentage chance to significantly go below, median. I don't know how you run it, but that's how it's been explained to me before.
Yeah, it's pretty much looking at the range of outcomes of a player and seeing what upside opportunity there is, and then again the flip side of that, what's the chance that they don't hit value?
For sure. And I think the rest of these are pretty self-explanatory. Your percentage chance to be top 1 at your position to top 10, your value of your salary times points, your percentage of hitting 2 times the salary with points and all that jazz. Optimal, we already touched on that. Leverage play, you want to explain leverage?
Yeah, so leverage is the difference between the projected ownership and the projected optimal percentage.
There you
go. Positive leverage means the winning chance is higher than what the field is projected. And negative leverage, a negative number means, the field is believing in this player more so than their chance of being in the winning lineup. So just looking at that to understand, what pivots you can take, what are the stands you potentially want to take, a singular metric that helps you digest that really easily.
I like that. Hero own is your own calculation of their ownership on the slate. And then hero projection is basically your median projection of
correct
points they're going to get. Over here, you can mess with these, everyone. This is your own user. So if Tom says his system says 14%, and I want to put him at projected 25%, I can click that and refresh the thing, and it changes it over to my own personal projections. So you can move things around, mess around with all of this. My favorite thing, honestly, is when I run your optimizers, Tom, it will spit out, if I do 150 and it says, let's say Zach Charbonnet is in 80%.
Yep.
And I say, I like Charbonnet, but I don't want him 80%. I'm willing to go up to 35% of Charbonnet. So I can click that, and it'll make your simulations run with a maximum of only 35% of your lineups having Zach Charbonnet. So pretty easy. Or if you want to say, hey, I want exactly 25% Zach Charbonnet, we can type 25 in both, and it'll give you exactly 25% Zach Charbonnet, which I know it's a feature that I use a lot. I know Trevor likes to manipulate the percentages a lot in there. Trevor, did I miss anything that you like to manipulate and play with when you're doing these?
The biggest thing I manipulate with myself is user projection. So I don't do it with, I'm not going to go through all the players and user projection. That'd be nuts. I'm not good enough to know every projection, but the guys that I like, let's say the guys that I watch, I'm going to add them or subtract them accordingly to what I think. And, some weeks it doesn't work that way, but the weeks it does, it really boosts me up. And, that I think that really helps me in winning, taking down some of the slates that I've taken down. And that's basically it, because so usually, depending on how many lineups I build, I might build 30 lineups, and then you don't forget about that lock button,
right?
Because
we'll talk about that in just a second.
Just lock a guy in for 30 lineups and let it go.
Oops! I clicked the bad button. I clicked back accidentally. Now we gotta let it run again. 2 seconds. All right. So one of the things, there's so many options here, Tom, and I think that part of that is very intimidating when people open this for the first time. So
I know, believe me, I know.
Right. Going into next football season, maybe Trevor and I will make some tutorials for you. We'll have some fun.
Yeah.
Well, but Trevor just said he likes to go all the way over here, and he changes projections of his favorite players. I run these things so many times that I don't want to get lost in what I changed. And I think one of the coolest features of your site, Tom, is this fire and ice cube. So if you say, hey, I like Puka a little bit more than the field, you give him a fireball. You like him maybe a little bit more than the field, maybe a little bit more than the field. You can pump that up to 3. You can reset it just by clicking it again. And if I say, hey, I don't want to take Puka out, but man, I am cold on him because the weather's going to be crappy. I don't want to take him out, but I want to tap him down a little bit. Is there an actual metric of how much? Is it like a percentage point of points each one of these taps does?
Yeah, so it boosts or docks 10% of the user's projection. So yeah, this is a great, very easy way to make some adjustments. If you're like trying to get a player that we really don't like, in and high exposure, it probably won't be enough. So many times you do need to use the side over there to set minimum exposures or change the projection to Trevor's point so that it gets you that player. But again, I think either micro adjustments or just taking a stand is what shifts the lineup construction enough where you're getting different lineups than what everyone else is building. We have to understand that there's so many competitors and there's so many people that are playing and consuming content and using tools, and it's all kind of the same. An optimizer is optimizing points for salary. So how can I get the most points within this maximum salary threshold that I have? If you don't make changes, you're going to get same lineups. So scratching out Puka or putting 10% Puka or 15% Puka is going to immediately make your whole lineup pool so much different to what everyone else is consuming and downloading and messing with. That in itself is an adjustment for your expected value that's, that favors you. If Puka has a great match, which he very much can, the people that have a lot of him are going to do well, but they're going to split very, very well as well. So banking on those opportunities are what set you apart from the field. So I think messing with these things and really understanding like what it is, what your plan is before going in, helps you understand how to tackle it within the tools as well.
Right. So, if it's just me here and I was doing this, right, I don't want to take Puka way out, but I definitely want to knock him way down my board. So I would hit there. JSN, I don't think you need the boost just because if you take down Puka, it's naturally going to add more JSN for you. I don't know about Christian McCaffrey. The way I feel right now is any running back against Buffalo. So this is the other feature, right?
Yeah.
I just want to lock RJ Harvey. Hit that button. RJ Harvey's in every lineup you build.
Yep.
If you say, hey, I'm not playing James Cook against the Denver run D, you click this button, takes him out of all of your projections. So there is buttons that we can play with there. So anyways, well, let's get into it. We've kind of explained that. That's great. We'll do that again in the future. I just got a text, Trevor, from our good buddy Ted, who used to work with us at Dr. Roto. And he says to me, JSN is the next wide receiver number 11 to go down in flames. That's what he says.
For this weekend?
Yeah, because they just took out A.J. Brown, who wears number 11. So how do you adjust the model to adjust for terrible jersey numbers? Can you add a function that allows me to eliminate all number 11s?
Is this a 49ers fan first and foremost?
Yes, of course it is.
So, well, that makes a big difference.
It does make a big difference.
You have for anybody watching this, you have to take fandom out of all this. If you're going to adjust your DFS on being a fan, forget it. My best action has been in playing against my Vikings.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me put these back to the way that I have.
It's easy to root against the Vikings when 20 or 30 grand is on the line.
True story. All right. Well, gentlemen, what do you want to do? You want to run one of these for 150 or for a 20? What do you want to do?
Let's go for 150.
All right. Let's go for 150. All right. Personally, I don't know how you feel. Even at 150, I'm still locking in RJ Harvey. I think he's got the best matchup. His price at 62 is fine. I like him, or I like Charbonnet quite a bit. I don't know. How do you feel? How would you adjust this RJ Harvey, knowing that I love that matchup?
I think I will be above ownership for RJ Harvey for sure. He's coming in at like what 31%. 32. So I'm looking at maybe like 45-ish, 50%. So a lock might be extreme, but I think he's a player that I will want to be heavier on. Another CMC is another one that I will be heavier on as well.
Yeah. How about you, Trevor? Where are you at on these couple of guys that are just right on our screen here?
Well, I don't really want to discourage anybody from playing anything, but I'm going to be underweight on Harvey.
I love that.
Interesting.
Just because they suck at running the football. Denver sucks at running the football. They've had matches. They can't run against anybody. And the bad thing about this is not a good matchup to throw the football for running backs receiving. So, and the Bills have been better stopping the run of late. But I can understand it. I am more on the Charbonnet train because he scored 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games, and he scored in 7 of 8 home games. And he's the guy to give the ball to in the goal line. So I definitely, last week I faded CMC, and that was really good for 3 quarters, and then the 4th quarter hurt me. I'm going to be pretty overweight on McCaffrey. I know He was one catch away from the last game from being in the showdown slate winning because he dropped that ball at the 2-yard line or was a bad throw. I expect them to really get McCaffrey involved in this game through the air, not so much running. I would scrap the run, and then I really want Charbonnet. I'm gonna play Harvey. I mean, he could. There's definitely pathways where he could be in the winning lineups, no doubt. I mean, because he's an all-purpose back. And they have nobody else there.
I like it a lot. And honestly, the reason why I like Charbonnet so much, guys, is that if you believe the 49ers are going to do better than 3 points like they did last time, if you think that this game can go 48 to 52 points, they're going to have to throw the ball. The 49ers do not play well from behind. I've been a fan for a long time. Kyle Shanahan, in every offense he's ever coached, is brilliant as long as the tie scoring or they're in the lead or they're back and forth on the lead. If they get behind a couple scores or it's a defensive game, they don't score at all. So if we really believe that, the 49ers are going to make this game a game, I think it's Charbonnet over Walker. But that's just my personal.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So we just gave those guys a couple of boosts. I'm going to take Puka down a couple unless you're going to argue with me, either of you.
I won't argue with that.
And like
I said, boost Harvey.
I'm going to leave Harvey alone since you and I, Tom, are on him and Trevor's against him. We'll just kind of leave it there.
I know. This is why I don't like to sway anybody one certain way because I'm just as wrong as I am right. More so wrong than I am right.
Well, that's
it's just the weeks that I'm right. It's really
when you're right, you're very right.
Yes.
Right. So your Sims, Tom, they love Devonta Adams. Do you love Devonta Adams?
He's burned me a few times, but I trust. So yes, I think I'm at 26%.
I mean, you got him. You're a hero ranker. Now, obviously, this is not Tom individuals scores, right?
Yes.
You built the system; it does its thing.
Correct.
So I kind of believe in it too because one, I believe they do everything they can, which nobody really can do to stop Puka, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it really is a bad weather game and it comes down to possession, there's no better guy at catching a 10-yard ball in the league in contested forms than Devonta Adams.
Yep.
On the wide receiver end. Of course, we've had some really good tight ends.
I think, too, if you're going to lower Nakua, you pretty much have to boost Adams.
100%.
Oh, I think so too. And the reason why, if anybody's listening, why I left JSN alone is because they're both in such an elite price range that if you take one down, it will just fill that salary space with the other one. You don't really have to mess with it. But I agree on Adams. I don't know about 2 boosts. Maybe I'll give him 1 boost. Just because, it might be really bad weather there. But Adams is a supreme possession receiver. What do we think about, say, Kyren Williams, James Cooks? Guys we haven't talked about yet. Trevor, where are you at with those guys?
Well, the bad thing about Kyren is, Corum is pretty much they're splitting every other series. Mm-hmm. So he's not getting the full load. But I definitely can see one of them scoring, especially if they can get it going early and they can run the ball effectively. Like I think they can. James Cook, Denver's top 3 in rush defense. Mm-hmm. I think out of all the games that are going to be the lowest scoring, I think Denver Buffalo might be the lowest scoring game on the slate. That's just what I'm thinking. I'm kind of fading that game totally, but I think it's just going to be low scoring.
Yeah. Tom, where's your feeling? So Trevor said pre-show he kind of liked basically all 4 running backs in the Rams Chicago game in one shape or another. Where are you leaning there?
My order of running backs is, and I'm kind of going against your guys' Charbonnet thing. I'm going CMC, Harvey, Walker, Cook, Kyren as my top 5, and that's by exposure. So I don't have. I will not have a lot. I think I'm at 10% Charbonnet. About the same for Marks.
And I'm sorry, Tom, I should have mentioned earlier when we were going through your tools, if you click the little settings button, it pops up the position filter.
Yeah. So the reason the reason it looks the way it does here is because we've zoomed in so much so everyone can see.
Right.
So it's kind of showing the mobile experience, which is why it looks like that. Normally it just populates on desktop in an easier to view.
And then if you do what our buddy Chris Emmerich over at drroto.com did about 5 years ago and won $200,000 week one, he likes to just pick a team and completely eliminate it. So you can go to this little function up here, show the games, and you can just like say, hey, I don't want Denver players. Just click that button.
Yeah, and I think another undervalued thing here is, you can exclude games entirely or filter to see the players, but you can also do the exact same thing with the fireballs for a team if you want, right? So you can boost fire or ice
at once.
Yeah, a whole team, and it will do it for all of them. So that's another way to like take a stand on a specific team if you feel like the script.
I'm even learning more and more.
Yep.
Sorry, I got a little distracted there. We were talking about running backs. So you like Kenneth Walker. Now, Kenneth Walker does have a history of playing very well against the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, between like CMC takes the crown for sure in terms of ownership. Harvey comes second for sure. I think the split between like who that third running back will be in my most exposed is like I have 24% Kenneth Walker, 21% James Cook, 18% Kyron, and then the drop off comes where it's like 12% Woody Marks, 12% Charbonnet. So yeah, I think like I will be heavy on 3, almost 4. I do think James Cook is a good option as well. He also won't. He's coming off of a bad game, so people might also shy away, I think. So that's an interesting piece there as well. But yeah, CMC.
Could you go completely contrarian on the slate and play Kyle Monangai?
That's a no for me. I have 0.7% Monangai, so one share of him. So yeah, that's a no for me.
Well, how much did he touch the ball last week against Green Bay? I mean, he only had 8 carries.
Yeah.
And then he had to have one good reception.
I still think Julio McLaughlin is a play that you can play if you want to save salary. I think that he can be played.
Who's that?
McLaughlin, because Buffalo's run defense is really bad. McLaughlin is really cheap and will go almost completely and utterly unowned.
Yeah, I'm not going to have McLaughlin.
Yeah, it's a stretch. I think it's a stretch. If you have a gut feeling, and you put some lineups in with him, I think that's totally viable. Locking him in or setting any extreme exposure, I think is probably not going to work out well.
Tom, this is the first time you've done a show with me, but before I used to be on drroto.com. I used to be on another webpage, and I did a segment that I would call Tipsy Picks.
Okay.
And originally it was a little different. What it evolved into was picking a guy like McLaughlin that nobody's going to take and making a stand saying this person's going to outperform his salary and value.
Okay.
Which is a more contrarian, big GPP, reasonable thing to do in the fantasy world.
Yep.
How it started was John drinking 6, 7, 8 beers on Thursday night and then recording a live video at 2 to 3 in the morning of me making picks and then waking up in the morning and trying to edit it into a very funny segment is how that actually started. And so this McLaughlin pick would be right up those alleys. I famously once said that Rex, what was his name? Rex from Patriots, Burkhead, I famously once said Rex Burkhead would have 3 touchdowns. Woke up the next morning, said that's even too crazy for me. Edited it out, and then Rex Burkhead had 3 touchdowns.
Well, there's going to be lineups where I'm playing the Kuba and the Jigba and the CMC all together. So there's definitely going to be some lineups where you're going to have to get a little tipsy if you want to take them 3, because there is a pathway where all 3 of those guys score 35 plus points. And if you don't have them, it don't matter who the other 2 guys are. They're not going to make up for it.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, we've just kind of gone around. I don't know. Who do you want to mess around with any of these? Or you just want to run one and see what happens?
Let's run it.
All right. Let's run it and see what happens. All right. So we made a few adjustments. We're going to let it build its thing. It's going to do its thing. Ding, 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 ding. All right, it's going to slowly build. Like I said, this is zoomed way in, so I don't know what it's doing actually right now. Did I accidentally click 100% McCaffrey? Oh no, it's just building. See, sorry guys, we have this so zoomed in. You can only see one thing at a time. But normally you can see this part that I'm scrolling through slowly populates as it runs. I kind of like to watch it. It's kind of fun. We'll let it finish here. I might have to try to make this bigger. Let's see.
Yeah, let's try to zoom. Let's click out one zoom. There we go.
All right. So it's almost done. You can see it adding up its lineups as it goes. I'm on really bad Wi-Fi at a hotel room, so it's going much slower than it normally goes. Tom, your site is literally the fastest optimizer out there, if I can give you a plug for that.
Thank you very much. We've worked really hard for it. It hasn't always been that way.
I use lots of different optimizers over my time doing content, and yours is by far the fastest.
Yeah, I agree.
When you're not on a hotel, terrible Wi-Fi on the ninth floor of the hotel.
I'm not going to mention the competitors' names, but I've used pretty much 5 or 6 competitors, and I will choose DFS Hero 100% of the time over all of those.
There we go. All right. Well, it has spit us out some stuff. We can slowly scroll to the left here. I'm sorry if you're having to zoom in to see it or pulling out the magnifying glass. Your simulators believe in Christian McCaffrey and JSN when we made our minor adjustments. It also appears it likes Tonjes and Cup. So it's like in my theory that the San Francisco-Seattle game might be a good one. So it's telling you 100% CMC, 100% JSN. You can see how many lineups it translates to. You can set it to make, I don't know. I've had it do up to 450. I'm sure maybe not all at once, but I know Trevor's made a lot more than that. Let's see if there's anything. Actually, honestly, I'm not going to lie. Cooper Kupp at 74 is a little bit of surprise, but that's probably just because it's trying to save salary.
Yeah, I mean, even in the Sims, Cooper Kupp is up there in terms of exposure, but like I think like it's all what we are kind of seeing. Like it's giving Devontae Adams a lot. We got a lot of Harvey. We obviously have a lot of CMC, JSN.
The first quarterback it likes is Sam Darnold at 40%. That's interesting. It's really tough, and I was going to ask you guys this at some point, so we'll get through this. But making a decision on quarterback, I don't think is easy this week.
No.
It likes the Rams. It likes the Broncos D. There's our Drake May solo all by himself. Trevor, I like it. A little bit of Schultz, a little Shakir. Nothing super surprising down here.
I think one quarterback I'm going to eliminate CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
He's just a guy that I'm not going to play in the pool. I just can't imagine him being in a winning lineup, but if he makes it, he is. But this is one guy I'm eliminating.
So he's not even in here. We can look at it position by position and take a look. It's telling you Darnold, it's telling you May, it's telling you Stafford, but really light. Really, it likes Darnold in the safe weather game. It likes May as a guy who can control a game. And it did exactly what you just said, Trevor. Without our input, it eliminated CJ Stroud.
Yeah, now he'll score 30.
Any of these percentages at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little so Sims are a little different here in that it's Josh Allen simulating out a bit better than what the optimal kind of top projected lineups are giving him. The way I have him here in my exposures, I'm very, very even at about like 20-25% between Allen, May, and Stafford. And then the drop off comes with Darnold right after at like 18. Sure. So yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the tournaments I'm playing in and just the simulations that I'm running for the specific tourneys are giving me, you know, just a little bit different than top projected lineups. I think you're going to see the chalk kind of resemble what we're seeing here in terms of the optimals and the top and like the top median lineups. But yeah, I like what I see. I think, you know, it's very aligned with a lot of what we were talking about and just plays that, you know, we'll be focusing on. So yeah, I think, you know, Cooper Kupp is high for sure. I do not have that much of him from the simulations. So it's either going to be a you know, one of those like plays that boom or bust. Sure. Same with Adams, I think is another one that you might want to, you know, pay attention to a little more, but otherwise it's very in line.
And let's just say, okay, we looked through these, right? Our running back said what we said.
Yep.
Caffey, Harvey, Walker. Everyone else is secondary. You know, I might flip a little bit more Charbonnet than Walker myself. We go here. We did make Puka much lower, and it spit out one lineup for him. That's probably a little low than what I would want.
Yep.
And then JSN at 100 is probably a little high than what I want. And if you want to make micro adjustments after you've run these, rather than go back to the main form, you can just go over here and do it just like we did up before and say, hey, I really only want to see 66% max on JSN.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go down below where Puka was, and you can say, hey, I want to see at least 15% Puka.
Yep.
And then you can just go up and run it again, and it runs it again with your micro adjustments there. Actually, I hit the wrong button. This one here. And it does it again, and it'll make those. So that's really it. I don't know that we need to get too much further into it. It was just interesting going through the process and showing people how to use the sim. And I think a 4-game slate's kind of optimal to play around with it because you can really see, you know, easy differences with micro adjustments.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's like important to note here is that like we're currently in the lineup optimizer tool, which is really using a traditional almost approach when it comes to solving for the best lineups. We're not incorporating randomness. Which you can do all of that if you use advanced settings and you can set for stacks and onslaughts and whatever it is that you want. So I think as a starting kind of point, it's always best practice for me to just run things pure and see kind of what are the outcomes. I'm getting 100% CMC based on top projected lineups. I'm getting, you know, 100% JSN, which I understand that we shifted some things, so it probably wouldn't actually look that if you just ran top 150 raw.
Right.
But really starting from like a blank canvas and saying, okay, let me just take the top 150 and see what they look like. Let me understand what the scripts are saying, what the projections are saying, and then kind of start from there to identify what positions you want to shift in. Using that leverage, for example, that we talked about earlier, is a way for you to easily see, okay, wait, I'm heavy on a guy that there's positive leverage on, so that's a good thing. I might be, you know, too heavy on a guy that there's negative leverage on, so I might want to pull back a bit there. So just using the information that's just raw helps you understand and get you in the mindset of where the slate is, how the dynamics are playing out. When you've done that, you have two then approaches that you can take. You can run things here, use the optimizer, make your adjustments, you know, and just go for those top projected lineups. But you can also go straight into the simulator, you know, and generate lineups from these fields that we create. And those just give you a different kind of view because it's using the simulation data to help you understand the ROI behind the lineups and the players, and not only the projections, because the projections are super important, obviously. And, you know, the floors, let's say, almost of your cash probability are really based on projections on what these numbers are saying. To identify, though, these like sneaky sleeper different construction opportunities, you do need to see the simulated data to understand, if I'm running a contest 100,000 times, what are those numbers telling me? So you'll see many times that the numbers in the sim don't equate or aren't similar to the numbers in the optimizer. So again, taking that information and working with it is also beneficial, because you can understand how the actual contests are playing out.
Right.
It's a lot of information, and I know we're going to do more of these videos to help people understand just how to use the tools effectively. But I welcome anyone that's trying DFS Hero and is in there to really just run things purely, just to see how it operates and how the numbers that it's giving you, and then figure out ways to like pull a few levers in order to get different. I think because the platform has everything you could possibly need, the instinct that people follow is to just do a lot. Let me press all these buttons. Let me use, projection.
Right.
Let me use pivot finder. Let me do all of this stuff. When in reality, you don't really need to. You just need to take a few pieces of information and find ways to adjust them to fine tune your strategy that works for you.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I am an opto guy. Okay. I'm a data guy. I like to run them. I like to see patterns there.
Yeah.
I love football. I do not consider myself a football expert. That's why I love working with Trevor and Doc, because I can say, this is what the optimizers are saying. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why? Why doesn't it like this guy? Why does it like this guy? And, Trevor watches every game twice every week. Doc spends almost as much time watching tape. And so it's really nice to be able to say, here's where the optimizer is at. Give me some gut feels, give me some plays that I like, and then being able to go back and forth. And that's what you get at drroto.com, baby. So go check us out over there. I got to get out of here. I got a seminar I got to be to in 2 minutes, so I'm going to go do that. But make sure you come to drroto.com. Use promo code WIN for 10% off drroto.com. We're there for you. We do golf. We do basketball, hockey, you name it. We still have it going. Of course, Tom over at DFS Hero, use promo code DOC over there. Get 20% off to try his tools. And you do them all as well. All year round, you're always there. You name it, you've got it. I think you got car racing over there, don't you?
We got NASCAR. We got Formula One. We got 14 sports.
Love it.
14 sports.
I'm about to deep dive into golf starting in 2 weeks, so I can't wait to get into those tools.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'll get there eventually, but I'm still in NFL and NBA mode right now.
I never get your contest sim for the current contest in Hawaii for the PGA, and trying to avoid top ownership because I'm playing a one and done, so I can only use each player once. It led me to Corey Connors, so let's root for Corey Connors this week and for him to have a terrible season the rest of the year.
New
Trevor,
article coming out tomorrow.
You have to play.
Yeah,
you have to play.
You got to do it. What were you saying, Trevor?
Big article coming out tomorrow for the weekend games.
Oh yeah, Trevor's picks will be out tomorrow. We'll be ready to go. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. You're going to catch Tom and I doing some more of these educational ones throughout the off season, and hopefully we can all be profitable. That'd be great.
Great.
All right, for everybody here and drroto.com and DFS Hero, we'll catch you on the other side.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.